Hey, everybody, in the immortal words of Rafiki from The Lion King, it is time. That's right, it's Thursday night. It is time for Shop Talk. I'm Josh Olive with Haven Comics, the best comic book store at our address in Madison, Alabama. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. So, stick around while we play this quick little intro video, and then we'll be right back to talk some comics. I told you it was quick, and I'm glad to see that you all stuck around. So thank you for that. Uh, Speaking of people who have been sticking around and we can't get rid of them, Alan, what's up?
Say hello to my little friend. I've been waiting for that occasion, and just since I finally got to play it, I'm gonna play this one too.
Fair enough.
So, I know that we took a week off for Thanksgiving and everything, but I did see some news. Actually, I got a couple of news items I'd like to talk about. One, I find it really funny. It's further proof that Google does listen to us, because on a couple of the pull list videos, I've made a comment about how on certain Marvel titles, they've put the 20th Century logo on there.
Yeah.
And how I've really enjoyed that. Well, maybe it's because I'm signed up for Marvel emails or Disney emails or whatever, but I started getting emails for 20th Century Productions. And an email that I got a couple of weeks ago, which I mean, thoroughly got excited when I read the email. On December 6th, Disney has gone through, they have completely remastered a particular movie, converted it to 4K, and from my understanding, if I read it correctly, one night only on December 6th, they are going to re-release The Abyss into movie theaters.
No way.
I am all over that. And let me tell you why. If you are a grown man that ever watched that movie, the second on that computer terminal that it popped across "Love You, Wife," you know that you were sitting there going, no, we didn't need to do that. We did not need to go there. That movie, I loved that movie when it came out. That was such a good movie.
Did you ever see the sequel?
I didn't know they did a sequel to it.
Yeah, it's called Son of Abyss.
Oh, Lord, he's coming with the dad jokes.
I've gotten Damon Hawk with that one 3 times.
That is a pretty good one. I'll have to remember it. Yeah, and as bad as it sounds, I really hope that the theatrical release that they do next week is the 4-hour version of the movie theater, at the movie theater.
What's up, Kyle? How you doing?
What's going on, Kyle? Next thing, and this might be a little bit of a rant involved. I think it was either yesterday or today, and I know that he is never going to see this. I know that this will never go beyond our merry little band of misfits, but I'm still going to say it, and I'm still going to call him out for it. I saw where Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, for those of you that don't know, has come out and said that their number one priority is fixing Marvel. Now, we all know that he's referring to the MCU. Yes, it's got a lot of issues. Yes, the MCU needs to be fixed. To me, the MCU actually died with Endgame. I mean, it kind of just slowly started going. Yeah, there were some bright spots and everything. One of the things that I read was they were going to, yeah, I saw that too, Nick. They were going to put more executives on set. Okay, you don't need that. And this is where they really need to be called out. First and foremost, if you're going to say you're going to fix Marvel, you need to start with the comic books first, big guy, because they're going to be around a lot longer than the movies. I know they're going to focus on the movies and the TV shows because it's $1 billion industry, but your comic books aren't that great. That they've got a lot of issues that need to be addressed. You're doing stupid stuff like Gods when you need to be fixing one of your flagship titles like X-Men. Next, they don't need executives. They don't need, no offense to anybody out there, they don't even need comic book writers. What they need is a fan, and not an average fan. They need somebody that literally grew up getting up every Saturday morning and watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. They need somebody
I'm still perplexed as to how Aunt May was able to knock over that trophy all those times and never realize that when she did, that whole other wall opened up.
Oh, yeah. I know. And you know that it just made you as mad as it possibly could every time she did it. But yeah,
how did that room even get there?
A good question. And then, you know, the one episode where it introduced the X-Men into it, we were all blown away by that episode. You know, they need to actually reconnect with the comic book fan, not the movie fan. The reason being is, what did Iron Man actually do? Iron Man actually connected with the comic book fan because we felt like they were being loyal to us. Well, look at the end result. That movie launched an entire franchise of multiple movies.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, they appeased us, the originals, the hardcores, and everybody else loved it. And we were all sitting back going, yeah, we've known this for years. Y'all are just now catching up to us. So, yeah, if they're going to, you know, and I saw something about where they're going to take She-Hulk, Daredevil, and one or two others, and they're not going to be a part of the continuity. Okay, you can drop She-Hulk. That, I actually enjoyed She-Hulk, but I enjoyed it because it was campy. It was stupid. I knew that's what it was supposed to be to me.
Yeah, it's a parody kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, because She-Hulk has really and truly always been that. If you really
since the John Byrne run anyway, the original She-Hulk run was a serious book.
Yeah, but I can understand them dropping that, but not bringing Daredevil into continuity.
That's ridiculous.
Daredevil, Echo, Kingpin, Punisher, every single bit of that could cross over with a major Spider-Man movie at any given moment, and I guarantee you it would be a moneymaker.
Oh, for sure.
You know, let Peter Parker grow up. For whatever reason, he's been stuck on the big screen as a teenager for the past 50 years, it feels like. Let him grow up. Let him have kids and everything. You can introduce Daredevil into it. They're friends. They're actually very close friends. Yeah, my only thing with the whole Daredevil is I really, really, really wish they would keep the Netflix format and how they're doing and how they did it with Netflix.
Yep.
Because that was a great Daredevil, but I just don't see Disney going that route. I mean, I can see Disney doing something like the original Stan Lee run and Roy Thomas and those guys where he was the swashbuckling Daredevil. It was a little campy and everything. I can see Disney doing that, but I really hope that they don't.
Agreed.
So, yeah, that was kind of my rant on that. My next thing was, if they was to do the Zdarsky interpretation, oh my God. I mean, that was, to me, Stan Lee's run on Daredevil, he was extremely wordy, but he did give us the character. So you kind of have to, give the man his props and, recognize on that one. The Roy Thomas run, I enjoyed it immensely.
The Frank Miller run.
Yeah, Frank Miller was, you're just kind of like, oh, wow. But in my mind, Zdarsky's run, he deserves to be in that conversation with Lee, Miller, Roy Thomas, all those people.
I wasn't going to comment on it, Daniel, but
Yeah,
Zdarsky.
Redneck from Alabama.
Dang old Zdarsky's at it again.
So, and you can actually back me up on this next one, and then
I
we can
hear
kind of
Zardasky's writing Batman right now.
yeah, yeah, and it's been good too. As much as I read, for me to miss a couple of weeks, it becomes a mountain of books very quickly.
Preach, brother.
3 weeks, you're just like, 4 weeks, it becomes the Swiss Alps. This is what I'm caught up on so far, and this is about half.
Well,
I've got books to talk about. Lord knows I've got books to talk about, but good.
Let's talk about them, because then we can talk about some you're going to get to. But one I have to know right out of the gate, have you read Moon Knight, City of the Dead, number 5?
No, I have not.
You son of a biscuit.
Well, I was actually trying to read in order of, just when everything come out. Well, and then I gave up on that and then just started grabbing whatever and reading it. So I have not got to Moon Knight yet.
Well, can I go ahead and spoil things? It doesn't spoil the story because it doesn't actually touch any point of the story whatsoever. But it's a hope that I have, and I'm harboring in my little heart. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Here's what I hope, because they've set it up where this is entirely possible. Okay? This is doable. They are killing Moon Knight. Mark Spector is dying. We know that. They've got a whole storyline called The Death of Moon Knight, and they're introducing a new Moon Knight. Mark Spector is dying. Okay? That does not mean the Mark Spector story needs to be over. We've just seen Mark Spector running around with the Scarlet Scarab in the City of the Dead. And I, for one, would be totally down to read the continuing adventures of Moon Knight in the City of the Dead.
I would love to read that also. But since I have not read it, who do you think the new Moon Knight's going to be? I've got 2 people I wouldn't mind seeing it be.
I don't know. I'm hoping it's somebody new. I really am hoping it's somebody we don't know.
I would like to see Hunter's Moon take on the mantle of Moon Knight.
I don't think so. I think he's keeping his own role.
And that's great. I would actually love to see a Hunter's Moon comic. I mean, I
would read that too.
But the one character that I would like to see step in and take the mantle of Moon Knight would probably be Soldier.
Okay.
I think that would be, you could kind of, because we know that Mark Spector is going to come back one day, all because of what Hunter's Moon has talked about in the past.
Yep.
But I think Soldier would be a good fill-in because he not only could he fill the role of Moon Knight, but he would also honor Mark Spector's legacy.
I agree with that. And I could handle that. I like the new there was a Moon Knight book years ago where somebody got onto him for wearing white. And they're like, you run around in the dark and you wear white and people can see you all the time. Why in the world don't you change your costume? He said, it's not a costume. I'm a priest. These are vestments.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's cool. But speaking of vestments, the new vestments for the new Moon Knight is pretty awesome looking.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of some covers that are coming out, and that did get me a little bit excited.
But just to go back to my original point here, I would be totally down for a Moon Knight Scarlet Scarab in the City of the Dead book, running around in the Egyptian afterlife, taking care of souls that are stuck there, whatever. Man, I would absolutely dig that.
See, I think that would be fun, and we've already seen it once. It's not something they would have to do all the time, but I really did enjoy seeing Mark and Jake and them, standing side by side, seeing them fight together. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, Mark, Steven, and Jake all physically in the same place. I thought that was cool too. But I really want you to read that, see how City of the Dead ends, and see if you kind of have that same takeaway from it that I have.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be getting to it. That is on my list for next week for Thursday, because like I said, I'm taking off Thursday and Friday because of some stuff going on. but it's really, I don't have to actually go anywhere. So the only thing that's going on Thursday is I'm going to go from my bed to the recliner, and then about 12 to 14 hours later, go from the recliner back to my bed. And that is my plan for next Thursday and next Friday.
That sounds totally reasonable.
And you know what? It might even be appreciated if you stopped by the house a couple of times and just rolled me over so I don't get bed sores. I'm doing nothing for like 2 days.
We'll bring you some food.
Yeah, just put it within arm's reach. If I get desperate enough, I'll sit up and grab it.
Now, before we jump into anything else, I feel like we should address this. I did as I said I would, and I tried it. And much like lima beans, I still don't love it.
Oh, you didn't love it?
It was okay, but the format of reading it backwards was really bothersome to me, and it's like I can't get the hang of it. My brain does not want to do that at all.
Yeah, it does take a little while to adjust to reading everything backwards.
Yeah, I mean, especially sometimes when I would read it left to right and it made perfect sense, and then I would read it right to left and go, well, it made more sense the other way. But this is my favorite panel of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I could do that.
I like his little thing. You're already dead. You just don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried it. It was okay. I'm not dying to read it. I can read any more of it. But I did try it. I gave it the old college try.
So what do you think about art and story?
The art's pretty good. It's definitely anime, but it's like an older type of anime, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It's like an older kind of thing, which I appreciate more, I guess, because I grew up on Voltron. But the story was okay too. Story was kind of weird. It was more Mad Max than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what I thought it would be going in, but
see, I think, and I could be wrong.
And this whole little Kalima business was like, what's going on with that?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's just them using their strengths. But if I remember correctly, I believe Fist of the North Star originally come out in the mid-'80s.
Now that you say that, I bet it's in here somewhere. It says that.
Yeah, I think that was originally when it come out. Oh, Nick's wanting to know if you just read that one.
So far, I've got to read the one that he gave me too. This took me a long time to read through, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, the first couple of times that you read manga, it does take a while because you got to kind of get into the flow of it. But once you do, you'd be surprised at how many of them. In fact, and God, this is going to sound really bad, and I don't care. Last Christmas on my vacation, I read the first 50 issues of Fairy Tail over the course of the week. And I mean, those are, the paperback mangas. I mean, I put down 50 of them in a week. So, Daniel, as far as your question is concerned, I have not played the new game. I have often wondered that myself. Why can't we get movies as good as the games?
Comics as good as the games, apparently, these days, too.
Yeah, and I know that this might be a hot take for some people because so many people did love the movies and I enjoyed them. But to be quite honest with you, the Resident Evil movies blew chunks compared to the storyline of the first game. All the movies combined were nowhere near as good as that first game, as far as the story was concerned. I would actually like to see a true to the game, true to the story, live action movie of Final Fantasy VII. But we're never going to get that.
I remember when Final Fantasy VII came out and it had that really realistic looking graphics,
Yep.
and everybody's like, "Well, I guess that's done. We don't need movies anymore."
And I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, the storyline on some of these games are 10 times better than the movies.
Or the comics. He was talking about comics.
Oh well, yeah.
But I agree. I would love to have good Spider-Man comics, and the only good one you can find right now is Miles Morales, which is fantastic. But there's not a good Peter Parker book out right now. We'll see. Nick, are you going to read Ultimate Spider-Man? Because it's everything you say you want. It's Spider-Man and Mary Jane, and they have kids even.
Well, I've been trying to get him to read the original miniseries, Renew Your Vows.
Yep.
And he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm saving that one. I'm saving that one." Don't save it, dude. That is a great storyline.
Saving it for what?
Really? I mean, if you're saving it for a rainy day, brother, Spider-Man has been stuck in a thunderstorm for years. That rainy day has come. It's time to read it.
What system is that game on, Daniel?
I think it come out for all major platforms. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm assuming
I don't either. Either way, let's talk some comics, man.
All right, so
we got a lot to catch up on.
These are in no particular order, and like I said, this is actually about half of my stack. I've got a couple of bags at home that I have not even opened yet. I'm not going to go over every single one of these, but we can kind of hit the highlights. Something new that did, to be honest with you, I don't even know if this is, I don't know what's new and what's not new in this stack. That's how far behind I am. But we do have the final issue of Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, issue 5. My only gripe with this book was it's not ongoing. I'll take it back. I got 2 gripes with it. It's not ongoing, and our pirate that was telling the tale, he, meets his end. But other than that, Godzilla, Here There Be Dragons, when the trade comes out, if you're a Godzilla or a pirate fan, you need to jump on this book. Some great art, a really good, fun story. The entire story is told through flashbacks. It was just a fun read. I don't know if this was popular. I don't know if, how sales were on it. I'm sure that there'll be some type of trade. I would definitely pick it up, though. For the art alone, pick it up. Next one is kind of hard to describe, and I'm going to have to be very careful with some of the things that I say, just so the YouTube censors do not go ballistic.
Did you read Red Light? Yeah.
This is Red Light by AWA. This is number 1 of 4. This story in this book is everything that you think. And I didn't understand what people were telling me when they was like, you'll understand when you read it. I get it now. This book is everything you think it's going to be, but it's nothing like what you think it's going to be. The story itself, at the heart of it, is actually kind of sad.
It's really sad.
The whole point of the book is it is a brothel, but it's not the type of brothel that you would think. It's actually AI, and they are robots, some type of synthetic skin. They are literally trapped there by their, I guess, owner or master or whatever.
Yeah, they make it clear they are property. They are owned.
Yeah, they are property. I mean, that's it. But there is something a little twisted going on. They call the guy who owns them, they call him Mr. He has had to make an example out of one that escaped. It does go over that. Like I said, everything that you think would happen in a book like this, it does happen. I mean, let's just be honest, be adult
about it. Very spicy.
Yeah, very spicy. Very good word for it. But there's also this bizarre relationship going on where there's one particular android where on her birthday once a year, and their birthday is literally the day that they wake up. She spends her birthday that evening with Mister, and it's almost like a date. It's like dinner, it's everything, except he calls her by his late wife's name. So there's a lot going on in this book. Once you get, and I'm assuming it's written by, I believe her name was Sandra Cho. I'm guessing that, I don't know if she's related to Frank Cho or not.
No idea.
I know he does a cover for this book, but it's one of those that if you want to read it, it's so far issue 1. I thought it was an outstanding story. If you're offended easily, do not purchase the book.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, just do not. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything or be a jerk or anything. I'm just telling you, hey, if you're offended by that type of stuff, just don't purchase the book. Definitely not for kids.
AWA usually gives retailers like a 1-issue preview of a comic, and this one they gave us 2 issues, and I think that was very smart for them to do, because when you see what happens in the second issue, the story really takes off. The first issue is really just creating the setting,
yep,
and showing you what is going on there. The second issue is where the plot really starts taking off. You get hints and things in the first issue, but the plot really starts moving in the second issue.
So the girl Natalie that I believe the robot's name is Stacy, but the human girl that she meets, Natalie, I'm assuming that she might be Mister's daughter or something. Does it kind of give you an idea of who she is?
Not really.
But
that's the assumption I had as well.
If you want an intriguing story, get this book.
Yeah.
Very well done. I mean, even with the subject matter that honestly, with the subject matter that it deals with, and I know a lot of people are just going to kind of roll their eyes when I say this, it was very tastefully done. I don't think there was
surprisingly so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything that was thrown in there for shock value. The story itself and how sad it is the truly shocking thing about it. I will actually, and I'm covering up a particular part. I would actually recommend this book. So I'm not going to call names because I'm not going to out anybody like that, but I do have certain people that I think would enjoy this book. You probably know who you are. Just buy it. I think you would like it. Very intriguing, and it's only going to be 4 issues. So
I remember when that first was solicited, you looked at that one and said, that might be the first AWA book I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
And I told you after I read the retailer previews, you're going to want to read it. So I'm glad you did.
Yeah, very, very, very good story. Yeah, these next 2 we're definitely talking about. Then we'll start skipping around some. Dawn of DC Titans, issue 4.
Issue 4.
So one thing about this book is, and it does tell you in the book, this does take place before Flash #1. That's actually very important
That's very important information.
Yeah, very, very important. I do like the fact that the safe house they're going to stick Wally West in, the only way to get to it is through a boom tube and you're headed to Mars. I love that for some reason. I just thought that was great.
Because it is great.
Yeah. Honestly, it's Titans 4 issues in. It's still exactly what you want it to be. I like the fact that Beast Boy Gar is kind of having some issues with as far as, saving the world and everything else. And I could be wrong. And, for those that are a bigger fan of this particular character, please call me out on it and set me straight. I think in this book, we're getting a different side of Raven. It feels like we're getting a different Raven entirely. And I've enjoyed that. Especially the conversations that she has with Gar in this one.
Agreed.
But I mean, it's been fun. Yes, Amanda Waller is still lurking in the background. I am enjoying the fact that Amanda Waller yes, she is the big bad that everybody's headed towards sooner or later, but she's in the background. She's not a central character. Kind of like she's keeping eye on stuff.
I don't think she's going to be the singular big bad everybody's headed for. I think there's going to be a tie-in between her and the Sovereign.
Yeah, that would be good.
Let me tell you, Wonder Woman #3, you get to meet the Sovereign for real, and that is terrifying.
Okay, I have not got to Wonder Woman 3 yet. We will get to Wonder Woman. If you are a Justice League fan and you need something to fill that void, you definitely need to pick up Titans.
If you just want good comics with a good team, pick up Titans.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's Tom Taylor writing it. How many times has Tom Taylor let us down?
It's good character-driven stories.
Yep.
By a guy who knows how to write characters. It's a great book. You should be reading it. And this is from a dude who was never a Titans fan before.
And
I loved what he was doing with Titans and Nightwing.
Yep.
And so when he started the Titans book, I'm like, I'm all on. And I have enjoyed the heck out of it.
He definitely knows how to write characters' relationships.
Yep.
And he has done an outstanding job with the relationship between Nightwing and Wally West. And he's done, I mean, in the Nightwing book, I mean, to me, the true power couple of DC is actually Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon. He's done such a good job with their characters and their relationship. So yeah, I highly recommend this. Even if you're if you're not really a DC fan and you're looking for something that, let me go check it out. This is only issue 4. I think this would be a good gateway book for right now.
Agreed.
Next one we have, and I was kind of leery on this one. I don't know why. I was like, I don't know if I'm really going to like this or not. That is Edenwood, issue 1 by Tony Daniels.
It's a weird book. It's a very weird book.
So to be completely and totally honest, the first 3, maybe 4 pages of it, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm even going to bother reading issue 2. But then once they actually got into Edenwood and everything starts happening, it was like, oh, I think I'm reading issue 2. It's very good. It is kind of weird in the fact of we're still trying to figure out how time actually works. This character, his girlfriend's only been missing for 5 or 10 minutes, but the character that he's run into was like, yeah, I heard some teenagers screaming about 3 years ago. And it's basically, it's like some witches army and everything. It's really hard to explain, but I'll definitely be getting the second issue. If you're just wanting some mystical, something's going on all over the world. There's definitely witches. There's a demon killer. Pick this book up and check it out. I mean, I would actually like to know y'all's thoughts on it.
Doesn't it feel kind of like Narnia on crack?
It feels like a cross between Narnia. Crap. What was it? It was a Scott Snyder book that recently ended that was Image. And it involved magic. Do what?
I was going to say Noctera, but that's not it.
No, not Noctera. It involved magic. Crap. The main character was actually possessed by the guy that he killed when he was a teenager.
Oh, shoot. Oh, that's going to just drive me up a wall now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google that now. But it kind of felt like it was definitely some of that thrown in.
Yeah, okay. I get that. I can see that.
What was his name that wrote that book? And he wrote
I'm
that.
going to think of it at 3 o'clock in the morning, but it's
he
not
wrote
in my head right
he wrote
now.
God Country. He wrote Venom.
Yep.
I can think of everything but that. But honestly, some really good art. I mean, this is
Was it
what we
Vanish?
come do it. Vanish. That was it. Vanish. Yeah. So this kind of comes across as a cross between Vanish and Narnia to me.
Yeah, it was Donny Cates. Thanks.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. I think it's definitely worth picking up. This is one of those that you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I think there's nothing bad about the book. The first, like I said, 3, 4, maybe 5 pages are a little weird. But once it gets going, it was really good. I enjoyed the art.
The art is very nice.
Yeah, the art, and it feels like an image book. I mean, it's got the feel of not just the way the art is and everything, Noctera, Vanish, all that. So, I mean, I think that you would enjoy having it in your collection. But I would definitely pick it up and then get back to us and let us know what you think.
Yes.
Next up, we have Conan the Barbarian, issue 4. Pretty much wraps up this story. I want to know what happened to Briss. Give me more Briss. Or Brissa, whatever her name is. And give me issue 5.
It's Honoria.
Whatever.
Lord have mercy. I tell you, before we jump any further, I got to say, the first 3 weeks of November, we had some pretty awesome guests.
Yes, we did.
I mean, Fred Kennedy, Nick Marinkovich, James Robinson, holy smokes, James Robinson, and Mark Spears. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny how we'll go on like a really good roll, and then it'll be us for a couple of weeks, and then we'll go on a really good roll. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too, because I'm enjoying this tonight because we haven't had a chance to just talk comics in a long time because we've had folks on.
Oh, yeah. This next comic, I've got one word to sum up this entire comic. We have The Sensational She-Hulk, issue number 1. No. Next up on my list. This is what I'm talking about when I say you need to fix your comic books. I don't even understand what they were really and truly trying to do with this. I mean, it was, yeah, no. The next one, I understand a lot of people didn't like it, but I don't understand why they did not like this. I actually enjoyed it. I love the way that it ended. And I can't wait for the next issue. And that is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong.
It just moved really slow for me.
Yeah, I understand that.
I was half asleep by the time I got through, the end of the book. I was like, is anything going to happen in this book?
Yeah, I did like the fact, I thought it was kind of a neat little touch that Superman is basically working his rear end off, trying to get as many people saved and as much done as he possibly can, just so he can feel like he can take a couple hours to have dinner with Lois and propose. Yep. I thought that was a cool little touch. I enjoyed the art.
Nice.
The shot of Superman flying toward Godzilla. Hey, DC, if we could get that as a poster, I'd appreciate that. I think it would look nicely framed in my garage. But yeah, this was just, I mean, I thought it's slow, but I think the payoff is going to be worth it.
I hope so.
Star Wars Dark Droids. They're basically running through Jabba's palace. They're trying to escape. We're about to hit issue 40. I still stand by what I've said in the past. They're going to issue 50. Then we'll just have to see what they do with Jedi after that. I have not been keeping up with Dark Droids. I know that Bill has been keeping up with it. He said it's really good. I'm just kind of, and this is one of those where please send all comments, complaints, and concerns to nick@twobrothers.com. I'm tired of Dr. Aphra. I'm tired of Bounty Hunters. I'm tired of the miniseries of the week is what it feels like. I just want a good, solid Star Wars book that is my characters, the characters that, and when I say my characters, I mean the characters we all grew up on. It feels like we're getting a lot of stories that really and truly don't matter because we all know where they're headed right now.
Like the new Mace Windu book?
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to when they get to Return of the Jedi, because to me, the most interesting thing is going to be from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens. I mean, there's what, 20, 30 years worth of stories that they could tell right there easily. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this being over with, just so we can see what the next beginning is going to be. Next up, I read it. I know I read it. I remember reading it. That was the Crypt of Shadows one shot. I believe it was a one shot.
You really are behind, aren't you?
Yeah, I really am behind.
That was a while back.
All right, so let's. Yeah, and I read this one too, and I've got to Daredevil issue number 3. This was the Stormbreaker's variant cover. No, was this 2?
I think it's 2 because you won't have read 3 yet.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I haven't got to 3 yet. Yeah, okay, that jarred my memory. So on Daredevil, I'm really enjoying the Father Matthew. Basically, the cops show up at the orphanage, and Father Matthew's just not having any of it. It was another good story. I like that he understands who he is, but it feels like it used to feel, where he's trying to reconcile everything with his Catholic faith.
Yeah, trying to find some balance. Yep.
Yeah. I was leery. I wasn't leery. Let's just be honest.
You were skeptical, as was I.
I was scared poopless because we were losing Zdarsky on this book. So far, I mean, he's doing a good job. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It feels like Daredevil. It feels like what it's supposed to feel like. Stories have been decent. I do have issue 3 at home, which I'll get caught up on it. I know one particular book you were wanting me to read, and I finally did get a chance to read it, and this will show you how far behind I am. Flash, issue number 2. Another outstanding. I like the new direction of Flash. I like what they're doing with it. But, I mean, pull this out right here. Very important. This story happens long before this does.
That's correct. That is important.
You got to keep that in mind. Yeah, these new beings that they've introduced, they do kind of refer to them as archangels, but I cannot remember the actual name. It's definitely a different Flash than what we're used to.
Look at this cover for number 3. I'm going to change
over stuff so we can see.
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, cool.
You know how the real nasty critters are called the Uncoiled?
Yep.
And then this one is this mortal coil. Look at that.
That is nice.
It's so good.
The fact
Mike Deodato Jr. is one of the best living comic book artists today.
Yeah, and the fact that these new critters here, they're almost kind of like celestials, so to speak.
Yeah.
The fact that they look down at the Flash and think, "Oh, he's cute. Look at his little power."
Well, they thought he was smarter than he was, right? They're like, "Oh, he knows he's the only one of all this entire species who is intelligent enough to be able to pop in and out of time like we do." And oh wait, he's just lucky, and he's just as dumb as they are. Poor thing, bless his heart. And they're all very, oh, bless his heart. That's just such a shame. Can we help you? Poor little mouse stuck in a trap.
And you know they're going to come back to help him at some point.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Flash has been really cool. The 2 issues that I've got to read so far, I fell off the Flash a long while ago. I think this is a perfect time to get back into it if you're wanting to pick up a Flash book. Just grab 1 and 2. It's definitely different.
Very.
It's not like any Flash we've ever seen before, and I think that's why it's working for me right now.
But it doesn't feel like a betrayal of a character.
No,
It's very organic the way that it's happening. It's not like scrap this character and throw somebody else in and call him Flash and go with it. This is still Wally West. Um, it, his character is not changed. It's just the circumstances in which he has been placed. So there are things happening in the world. There are things happening with the Speed Force. There's a lot of stuff going on that impacts him, but it's not. It's a cool direction for the character. It's a cool direction for the book, but it's not one of these. Aha! We've randomly swapped out your character that you know and love with some total stranger, but we're calling them the same thing now, and you just are going to accept that that's the new thing, and you're going to love it just as much.
Yeah, it feels like we're getting the next big adventure.
Yes.
Like we finally finished one adventure and we're getting the next one. Speaking of finishing an adventure, hey, that was a good segue for this next book.
Look at you.
I believe we only have 1 issue left, but this one was issue 5 of Green Arrow.
I believe that has been extended to 12 issues.
Oh, really now? Well, one word for that. Good. This has been a fun read. I'm not somebody that's been a big, massive Green Arrow fan. I watched the TV show. I knew about the character, but I didn't follow the character. This one has been really good watching him jump in and out of time and how basically it was his family can never be together. And he pretty much had to erase his own memory so he would never, know why they couldn't be together. It's been a complex story, but a very easily followed story. Some fantastic art. This cover, and Josh and I have talked about this multiple times in the past, this cover pertains to the book itself. It pertains to the story.
Right. It's not just some random portrait of the character.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on is a very, very big part of this story. In fact, I want to say that not this specific scene, but all these characters, all these versions of Ollie come into play toward the end of the book. It's been really good. And speaking of something that it's another one of those, sometimes his name causes controversy. Other times, people like me, we love him. He can almost do no wrong as of right now. And that is Tom King, Wonder Woman, issue number 2.
Such a great book.
Yes. And to watch Wonder Woman pick up a tank and smash another tank with a tank, that was just a great scene all the way around.
What'd you think of the kind of parallel story structure between the present and the past?
I loved the way that was done, and I loved the fact that that story tied in who the Amazon was in the first issue.
Yes.
And if you have not read this, you're not going to understand what I'm about to say. If you have read this, I got a feeling that you're going to be all on board with what I'm about to say. In 2 issues, Tom King has given us a brand new female character. In the second issue, he truly gave us a reason to care about this character. And by the end of the second issue, when you find out what she truly looks like and what her name is, you're ready for her own story. I mean, it's just, honestly, that character blew me away. Now Josh is going to tell me she gets killed in issue 3.
She does not. Everybody is excited for this particular issue because it has Trinity.
Yeah.
Like, we finally get to see what the heck's going on with this person. And it's a bizarre introduction. It's not what you would think. And no, not at all. And there's something very interesting in here that ties back to what you were just discussing. the character of Emily. Uh, really interesting. And the big thing here, you finally get to meet and like spend some time with the sovereign, the self-proclaimed king of America in hiding. Dude, he is nasty. And the lasso of lies is horrific. The lasso of lies is awful. Absolutely terrifying.
So so if we think about it, we got the Sovereign was a new character introduced at the end of issue 1.
Yep.
I'm actually trying to look for a. Yeah, that's just not going to work. When we talk about Emily, Emily is an Amazon. That's her right there. The way this comes across, Emily to me is almost like Wonder Woman. I think that if done properly, she is Wonder Woman's equal. I think that that's a very interesting character, but well, actually, what I was about to say was at the end of issue 1, we had the introduction of the Sovereign. At the end of issue 2, we have the true introduction of Emily.
Following that same pattern, at the end of issue 3, you meet Trinity.
That's what I was about to ask. Do we have any idea who Trinity's father is yet?
We have a lot more questions than that about Trinity.
Oh, really now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for you to read this book so we can talk about it.
Is Trinity going to be a wild night between Wonder Woman and Ares?
I hope not.
Look, we know how them mythological gods are.
Trinity's father is human.
Okay.
According to what we learn here. But it's coming from a narrator I don't know that I trust.
I think that it would be a nice twist if Trinity and Damian had the same father, which brings us to Detective Comics. Issue 1075. It's Ram V. He's completely and totally won me over with Detective Comics. This story is so complicated that you really and truly Josh and I could literally do a 2-hour show just on this story alone
and still not really describe it very well.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean it's an inaccessible read.
Yeah.
It's not inaccessible at all. It's very accessible. It's just complicated. You have to pay attention.
Yeah, you would have to go back several issues to get the full story. Does someone figure out who Batman is in this issue? Oh, yeah, they figure it out, and then they pay the ultimate price for it, and that kind of made me mad, to be honest with you. I was hoping that character would stick around for a little while.
I have to admit, I did too.
I got a few more. Let's do this one. These two will be easy. We'll do these two at the same time. Monomyth has come to an end. It's been a while since I read it. It was kind of honestly, and not trying to say anything bad about anybody, but Monomyth kind of had an anticlimactic ending to me. I felt like it wasn't rushed or anything, and it wasn't a letdown. It ended the way that it should end, but it was just almost anticlimactic. I do plan on going back and reading all 6 issues one after another, because I think that this story is best read that way.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best way to enjoy this story. This one right here was almost a little bittersweet for me because Brett Booth is no longer on Gunslinger Spawn, but the art in it was still fantastic art. I mean, it still felt like the same book and everything. Because, sometimes when they change artists, it just feels like the book is changed entirely.
Yep.
Gunslinger Spawn, in my humble opinion, and we know my opinion's not humble, is literally the best book in the Spawn universe. It's just flat out fun. I'm trying to hit a couple. Then these two we can do at the same time. Radiant Black issue number 26
In 26.5.
and 26.5. Kind of the same story. The characters are interchangeable as far as Nathan and I just completely and totally blanked on his name. Yes, I am behaving myself, Blue. But you got to read both issues to get the full story. This story actually takes place kind of across time, even though Nathan and Marshall, that's his name, are there for each other. In one story, Nathan is Radiant Black, and in this story, Marshall is Radiant Black, but they're both fighting the same enemy. It's kind of having to be played out across time. This honestly is not a good time for a new reader to jump on Radiant Black. If you want to jump on Radiant Black, this is my suggestion. And I know a place where you can do this. 3 trades cover the first 24 issues. The trades are $9.99 each. So for essentially $30, you've got 24 issues, and then you'll be caught up to issue 25, and then 26. Radiant Black has actually turned into one of my favorite reads. Speaking of a favorite read, it's dark. It's so dark. It's gritty. And I love every minute of it. Ribbon Queen, issue number 4.
Buddy, you ain't kidding.
This is, for anybody that ever watched the cop show The Shield on FX, it feels like that, just a supernatural version of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, I've enjoyed it immensely. And then the fact that our female detective has realized that by this issue, she is the chosen one. She is to be the... Yeah, it really was, JR. It really was. I like yours better than Josh's. But she is going to be the host for the Ribbon Queen. I really hope it works out that way. That's where they're headed toward it. But this is, once again, I mean, AWA. You cannot go wrong with AWA books. If you see an AWA book on the shelf at your LCS and it is a number 1, go ahead and grab it. I can almost guarantee you're going to enjoy it. They really and truly don't hold back. And then my last book of the night, which, I'm still behind. This is one that I've enjoyed more than what I thought I would. This is one of those that there were a bunch of us that were really and truly worried about how all this was going to play out. Then we read the first issue and we're like, oh, that was good. And we read the second issue and we're like, oh, okay, well, I think I can get on board with this. Then we read the third issue and now we're at issue 5 of Void Rivals. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I mean, I was worried about how we're going to tie Void Rivals, Transformers, and G.I. Joe all in together. You see how it's being tied together, so I'm no longer worried about that. I'm no longer worried about the quality of stories. This has been phenomenal read. It really has been.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's been so good. This is one of those where it's only on issue 5. I think are they at 3rd printing for issue 1 yet?
3rd or 4th.
Okay. Go buy them. This is one of those that you definitely get in on the ground floor type deals, because they've introduced everything perfectly. The story for Void Rivals has been great so far.
We just had to reorder more copies of number 4 and number 5.
And you know what? That's always a good sign when that happens.
Yep. Especially that far into a series.
Yeah, and I do not have them with me. because I just ran off and did not grab them. But the GI Joe issue 301.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean that was some good stuff right there.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
figured that we would end up talking about that sooner or later. Over the course of the next few weeks, especially with we need to do an entire episode dedicated to GI Joe because we've got the new story. It's tied into Void Rivals. We got Duke, Cobra Commander. We got 301.
Can I share a little something with you?
Oh, please share away.
Just a secret. I want just you, just me and you.
Okay. Everybody else turn off.
I just read a retailer preview copy of Duke #1.
Oh, and how was it? That's all I need to know. You don't have to tell me anymore. This is the one time you're not allowed to spoil.
I want to go in because the whole G.I. Joe Transformers thing has never worked for me. Putting them together has never worked for me. And I think they found a path toward it that makes sense. As a kind of a prequel to G.I. Joe, they're introducing characters that are old school characters like Dr. Adele Burkhart.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, I'm pretty sure, I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure there's an Easter egg of the Weather Dominator.
Really?
From the cartoon? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't love the art for Duke. It's kind of simplistic, kind of simple lines kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's a purposeful style. It's just not my favorite style. There are panels where it really, really works, and there's other panels where it just feels like it's not finished. But story, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised and pleased by the story.
See, I love the art on 301.
That was spectacular.
I wish they would have gotten the same guy, but for Duke and for Cobra Commander. But I mean, that would probably be a massive undertaking.
Yes.
In 3 books.
So let's talk about G.I. Joe 301 real quick, right? First of all, yes, that G.I. Joe 301 cover, spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got if you really want to appreciate it, do I have it here? It's not in this stack. I've got it in one of the other mini stacks I have here in my office. But the black and white cover art was gorgeous. I haven't got to read a preview copy of Cobra Commander yet. That'll probably be in about a month, but I suspect that that's correct. Yeah, I think that's right.
Because we've got Duke this month and then Cobra Commander next month?
Yeah, Duke is in December and Cobra Commander's in January, yeah.
Okay.
But just so you guys know what G.I. Joe sales are looking like kind of nationally, people ordered up on 301 big time across the country and sold out.
Wow.
I've got stores who are trying to get their hands on 301 left and right. But their pre-sales now for Duke and Cobra Commander are like excitement for G.I. Joe is at a high it hasn't been at probably since the early to mid 80s. People are excited for G.I. Joe.
So from a retailer perspective, and this is strictly retailer Josh and not fan Josh.
Well, that's tough, but okay.
I know it's tough, but we got to separate the two for this question. Do you think that is solely because of Skybound and Kirkman, or do you think that it's because of what Kirkman is trying to do with it?
I think it's both. I think it's both of those. I think it's because it's in the hands of somebody they know and trust now. And I think it's because people are excited to see what he's doing. I suspect sales on G.I. Joe Real American Hero are going to fall off when people realize that it's not actually tied into the Energon universe and that it's its own separate thing. I hope that's not the case, but I suspect that's the case. And I think people are going to, the Duke book is going to go very, very big. I think the Cover Commander book is going to go very, very big. And I think any ongoing titles that spawn out of that are also going to sell very well because people are dying to see how does he tie these properties together. And I talked to a new customer at the shop a week and a half ago who was like, I want Transformers and I want G.I. Joe. And I said, well, do you want Void Rivals? And he said, what's that?
Really?
And I'm like, oh, okay, let me tell you. So he bought the first 3 issues of Void Rivals off the shelf. And I had to reorder number 4 and number 5 for him because we're out.
And you know what? That's always a good problem to have.
It is. And Transformers, Void Rivals, Wonder Woman, Flash, G.I. Joe, all these. I have ordered a lot more of number 1s or the first restarts of these than I normally would because I knew people were going to come looking for it. And so far, that has been the case. So when somebody comes in after issue number 2's out, and they're like, well, I'd really like to read this, but I can't get number 1. I'm like, oh, yes, you can. It's right here. It's like Andy Griffith telling the Romeo and Juliet story. I'm right here.
Okay, so look, we got a couple people watching, and I know that, like Nosh watches on Saturdays. What up, Nosh?
Hats off to Nosh. I got to say this, too. Nosh called. He called the shop during our 24 Hours at Haven event. And he called in and put his credit card in to make a donation to Kids to Love. Yeah.
For you, Nosh.
I mean, he doesn't live down here. He's never set foot in the store. But for him to do something like that, that is a stand-up human being. That is just awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. What do y'all think, or I mean, nobody might even care. I mean, sometimes I just get on here and bump my gums just to hear my own voice. If we did like, Josh and Alan's picks, and it's not like a picks of the week or anything, but we did like legitimate picks of what we thought people would enjoy and just kind of put like a little sign up. I mean, it could even be something that we print out on the computer.
Yeah.
Just kind of tape it up somewhere. Would anybody be interested in something like that? Because Josh has pretty much got his fingers on the pulse of everything. And y'all know my affinity for going and finding some obscure independent book that nobody's ever heard of. I talk a couple of people into reading it and they end up loving it.
Yep.
So if y'all would like to see, and I know this would only be local at Haven, if y'all would like to see something like that, just say so.
Or if you're not local and you want us to tell you what those picks are so we can convey that to your local comic shop, we'd be happy to do that. So your local comic shop can stick that up on their wall too. And people walk in and go, who the heck are these guys?
Yeah, really.
Why do I care what these two jokers are reading?
Yeah, it's we can even do we'll do shop talks picks as seen on YouTube.
There you go. There you go. We can do that. LCSs who are interested, just hit us up. We'll tell you. We'll tell you. But I got to tell you, some other books. Let's talk about a few other books. I got a little stash here too.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So I already talked about Wonder Woman number 3.
And you know what, Nick? That's fine. Everybody needs some advice every once in a while.
That's mighty kind of you, Nick.
Is this a brand new character we've never heard of before?
Correct.
Okay. What did you think about it?
I'm frustrated with it because I liked it.
I hate when that happens.
I didn't want to read it. I got enough on my plate. I didn't want to say, gee, I got to see the next issue. I really liked it. This was a good book. They don't bother to try and get real creative and say like, oh, what sort of twisted and strange background can we give this guy? They just give him the same background and change how it happened. So his motivation's the same, all this, right? But he is a former SHIELD agent.
Okay.
And there's a good little comment at one point. People are like, oh my God, it's the Punisher. And he's like this stupid new tactical armor. But then he decides to lean into it and he makes it look like the Punisher.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It was a surprisingly good read. I would recommend that you give it a shot. If you want to step straight all the way back to the 90s, which a lot of people want to do right now, um, there's not a lot harder way of doing it than this.
See, I've got that one at the house, and I'm really fighting the urge to read it. I'm trying to work my way up to it.
It's written by the same dude who wrote Daredevil during this phase of the 90s. Um, the art looks like it. It reads like it. It's straight up Daredevil from the 90s. And if that was your thing or you want to revisit it, now's your chance because here it is. Let's see. Still awesome. Still part of the Kingdom Come story.
You know, I completely and totally missed the boat on that, and I'm waiting on trades, and apparently there's no trades coming.
Oh, so good. If you're not reading Avengers Inc., it flies real far below the radar. It's a quiet little book, but it's really good. Really, really, really good. Strongly recommend this book.
How are the sales on it? I mean, like across the board.
Avengers Inc.
Yeah.
Very quiet. Very quiet. Speaking of which, we need to talk about this real quick. There's a new book coming out. It was just on FOC this past week. It's Avengers Twilight, written by Chip Zdarsky.
Okay.
It is being described as Return of the Dark Knight for the Avengers. Or Dark Knight Returns for the Avengers. That's what it's being described as. I don't know. I haven't seen any retailer previews. I haven't seen anything like that. But it's Chip Zdarsky writing the Avengers. So I'm here for it.
I'm reading the thing on it now. Looks like it, I mean, looks kind of interesting.
Ribbon Queen. Very good. We already talked about that. Not to confuse people between Edenwood, but there's a new book from Mad Cave called Eden Frost.
Have you read it yet?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it? I've got it at the house. I just haven't read it yet.
If you remember the book called Red Star that was out years and years ago, we've got an oversized. So yes, I think we still have one on the shelf of an oversized book that came late in that run. It was by Christian Gossett. It was a book called Red Star. Really, really good. Smooth artwork, all this. This book feels very similar. It's totally different in plot and characters, but it feels very similar. It's got a similar vibe. I really enjoyed this book. I'm very curious to see what you think about it, but I really enjoyed it. And the back cover, even they didn't have to do this, but the back cover, gorgeous.
Oh, nice.
The art throughout this book is spectacular. It is being done by Bruno Frenda. And the art is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
If I can be honest for just a moment, when I first saw the cover for that and I saw the first solicitations, the first thing that popped in my mind was, why are we getting a young M. Bison story?
That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to go ahead and flash this one up here because I know that you're going to pee yourself.
I got it at the house. See, for people that are not reading this book, y'all do not understand how truly creepy this cover is.
Nope.
That is, God, that's such a good book.
This is so good. And number 2 just continues the goodness.
Oh, Lord.
If you didn't read Straczynski's first issue of Captain America, shame on you. Second issue, equally awesome.
So, back to that, The Devil That Wears My Face for just a second. Would you say that this is Mad Cave's first true foray, or how do you say it, into the world of horror?
Yeah, I think so.
At this level, anyway?
Yeah.
They've done a really, really, really good job for not doing it before.
Yeah, I really think so. It's very, very good. Next 2.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
So good. This is so freaking good. We're already sold out of this issue, and I've got to get more. But holy smokes, this book is so good. Wolverine fighting a predator through the ages. Why haven't we seen this before?
I've got to go through that stack of unread to see if I've got the second issue in there. I honestly, y'all think I'm joking. There's literally a stack like this and 2 bags full of comics at my house that I hadn't even taken out of the Haven bag yet. I don't even know what I have at the house to read at this point. I just know I got a bunch.
You know the thing that the predator does in the movie that he like sprays on the and it just like what's the term? Flenses the bones.
Yeah.
So he's just got the like clean bones. He does that to Wolverine in his mouth.
Oh, that's awful.
There is an abnormally long section of this book where as Wolverine is healing, it's like his body with his adamantium skull. It's not pretty, but it's fun.
Do we see the look on the predator's face when everything starts growing back?
No, but there is some really cool stuff that happens with the predator there. It's very cool. Hey, Kyle, man, you have a good one.
See you, Kyle.
Give me just one moon
I
night.
just don't like that last
just
days of Moon Knight across the top.
Night. Give me just one moon night. Oh wait, I'll take a whole lot more. Yeah.
I'm excited for the story. I just don't like it. I just don't like what's happening.
I'm telling you, this story follows on the natural progression of where the book has been going. And the end of this book is rough.
Really?
The end of this book is rough. And there is a dastardly villain plot point that happens that you're like, you son of a gun. And it ends with snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, and it's very rough. It's very rough.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Tiger still alive?
It's very rough.
No. All right, I'll read.
I'm not answering that question.
Because, I mean, let's be honest. With what McKay's done,
he made Tiger somebody I care about.
Yeah, in all the years that you've been reading comic books, did you honestly say or ever think that you would ever come close to saying, man, I'm really looking forward to that issue where Moon Knight and Tiger finally hook up?
No, I do admit, I used to think Tiger was pretty hot. I remembered that when I was a kid or young guy, I was like, yeah, Tiger, but I never cared about the character. She was just pretty. In a like James T. Kirk alien chick kind of way. But where the story of Moon Knight is going, there is an inevitable conclusion. It is headed toward that, like a freight train barreling down the express line. Yeah, it's rough.
What gets me is the way he's written this story. Tigra is only sprinkled throughout the story here and there.
Yep.
But he manages to make you care about that character and that relationship so much that it feels like she's always there.
He does something that makes her really cool in this issue too. That's just a little line. It's just a sentence or two, where one character says something to her about another character about her capabilities, and it's very small little detail. It's not that important, but ultimately it makes her really cool. And you're like, he's right. That's a cool little. It's cool that she has that, and that was brought forward in the story, and that it made sense. I really cool it. Do we know a release date for Rogue's Kingdom? I think Rogue's Kingdom is in the January time frame, maybe February, but I think it's January. Somewhere in that ballpark. So we've talked a lot about what's happening or what has been happening in comics. You ready to talk a little bit about what's going to be happening in comics?
Let's do it. What we got?
Previews. And right out the gate, you have Ultimate Black Panther. And look in the background.
Interesting.
Ultimate Black Panther. I have to, first of all, before we jump into that, look, Goofy as Beast, that's hysterical.
It really is.
You can just hear, Yahoo!
Is that Pete as Magneto?
Yeah. Yeah. But, all right, so Ultimate Black Panther #1. Let me read this to you here. Let's see. In the wake of Ultimate Invasion, Khonshu and Ra, the force known together as Moon Knight, are seeking to expand their brutal control of the continent of Africa. In response, the lone bulwark against them, the isolated nation of Wakanda, will send forth its champion, its king, the Black Panther.
Okay.
So this is Black Panther taking on the evil entity known as Moon Knight, which is both the combined forces of Khonshu and Ra.
So, based off of, and you know what? Let your hate flow. I don't care. Based off of what we read in Age of Khonshu, Black Panther is no competition for Moon Knight.
Well, not in Age of Khonshu, but in the Ultimate world, we don't know.
Okay, good point. I will accept your argument for the time being. But I mean, in the Ultimate world, if we're combining Ra and Khonshu,
should be unstoppable.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sick cover for Ultimate Spider-Man #2.
Well, at least it's got that going for it.
And you say, that looks an awful lot like the original movie's Green Goblin, and I agree, which I did not care for.
Yep.
Here's the interesting thing about it. New York welcomes its newest hero, the Green Goblin. What?
Okay. Oh, but this is the Ultimate Universe, though, where they did a lot of stuff different with those 4 books.
Yes. All right, I want to get your take on this, too. It's what if Venom, where he has clearly taken over Loki and Doctor Strange and Wolverine and looks like Moon Knight.
Is this What If Dark or Dark
Yes.
What If? So here's my question. Why is the Venom getting 5 issues when
all the other ones were just one-shots?
Yeah. And
actually, this doesn't say Dark. It just says What If Venom.
Okay. Because if they don't, I mean, they could very easily given me 10 issues of that What If Moon Knight, What If Dark Moon Knight they did.
This is the cover to Avengers Twilight #2.
Yeah, and I agree with Daniel on that. There's an awful lot going on that one cover.
Oh, I agree. There's a lot there, but it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Let's see, one, two. There's a couple of pages of preview art for Avengers Twilight. Looks interesting. Here's what it asks. It says, off the shores of New York City sits the Raft, government facility full of secrets and danger. Can Captain America infiltrate it before the new Iron Man gives him the same gruesome fate as Tony Stark?
Okay.
It's written by Chip Zdarsky. I'm interested. This one, I don't know if he's supposed to look like this, but this, I believe he is. But this certainly looks like what if Scott Summers got bit by a radioactive spider?
You know, I could have gotten on board with that until I saw the mask. The eyepiece.
Yeah.
I mean, it would still be an interesting read. Because, I mean, that's the whole point of the What If line, so.
Well, this isn't What If. This is Edge of Spider-Verse.
Oh, Edge of Spider-Verse?
Yeah. Which, this says let's see, we all know who Weapon X is, but who is Weapon 8? In their universe, when Weapon X escapes from his facility, they call on their greatest previous success to get him back.
Okay.
So whatever that is, I guess it's Peter Parker was Weapon 8. I don't know. Interesting. Here's more Vengeance of Moon Knight.
See,
Let's focus on this one first.
Is that Hunter's Moon? Yep.
Yep. And look at the skull.
God, is that a cover?
Yes.
That is beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous? But see, that's Hunter's Moon fighting the new Moon Knight.
Yeah.
But unless his personality splits, it's probably a different person. I want a blacklight poster of that.
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
But perched on Mark Spector's tombstone. Here's one. We talked about the 90s and going back to the 90s a minute ago.
Oh, God. Why?
Dude, what do you mean, why? Night Thrasher was awesome.
Why?
I loved the New Warriors. Love New Warriors. And not only does this book have Night Thrasher, but Silhouette is in it. This is going to be good.
I guess my thing is they're coming out with all this stuff when issues that they have in other books are well known.
I'll give you that. I
guess that's just my issue with it.
New Spider-Punk 4-issue series. Because why not? We need more of those. I will say, this is written by Steve Orlando, the same guy that's been writing the Scarlet Witch series, and also who wrote shoot, what's the title of the book at Mad Cave? The Angels.
The
Templar.
Sins. Good God Almighty.
I know, I'm clearly very old. My brain is mush.
We will know
yes.
here in just a minute.
The Hell Scraper.
Oh, come on. Why is it going to take the page a long time to load?
Anyway, Steve Orlando, the same guy who's writing that and who's writing the regular Scarlet Witch series.
Exorcists Never Die.
Yes, that's it. Has got a Scarlet Witch and Old School Quicksilver series, 4 issues.
Yes, we can say, now that definitely looks like a throwback right there.
Very much so. Very much so. And I'm okay with that. I think that's pretty cool. Here we go. Now, Chris Claremont is coming to the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo this year. And I know you've got some old books you'd like for him to sign, but it wouldn't hurt to show up and get him to sign something new, too. Something like, I don't know, Wolverine Madripoor Nights.
And see, if I do, and let's be honest, Chris Claremont is going to have a line, and rightfully so. If I did go get in line to get him to sign something, it would probably be something like that. Because everybody's going to be taking the old stuff and all that, and I've got the old stuff too. But I think it would be something, be kind of cool. It might even be a little more rare to own something new that he signed.
That's true. But yeah, look at that, man. I mean, right off the old cover of, what was it, X-Men 268?
Yep.
I'm totally down for that. That looks fun.
Oh, that book was Exorcists Never Die.
Exorcists Never Die, that's it. Let's see. I will say this whole Sabretooth war that's going on in the Wolverine book, which I haven't read Wolverine in some time, but Sabretooth war looks like old school 90s kind of thing. Okay, God's Cage. No, a lot of just next issue kind of stuff, which I'm fine with. They don't have to do 500 new series every month. On this cover, let's see. Captain Marvel, Storm, Scarlet Witch, Psylocke, Miss Marvel, Medusa, and who is that? Jackpot? Who is that? I don't know. Anyway, Women of Marvel #1. It's just a compilation book about different characters written by different people. The fact that they got Gail Simone's name as the first one on here is pretty promising.
Yeah, I mean, it would be worth picking up just for her alone.
Yeah, I think so. This cover of Fantastic Four, #17, is pure awesomeness.
Oh, that is a good one.
Archaeologists uncover an ancient body in Egypt. The Indiana Jones nod up here is awesome. But this also, they call in Sue Storm because she is, like way back in the way back, she was an archaeology person. And so they call her in to say, hey, what can you tell us about this? We found a body here wearing Fantastic Four costume. Normally, I wouldn't get excited about this giant size Fantastic Four, except for the name of the guy writing it.
Yeah, that might be worth Imperious Rex. Oh, is that the Dr. Doom T-Rex?
No.
Oh.
That's in the regular Fantastic Four, and that's fun.
Hey, let me tell you what. Did you ever think that you would get excited when you saw a T-Rex dressed as Dr. Doom?
It's not a T-Rex dressed as Dr. Doom. It is Dr. Doom.
I know, but still.
It's spectacular, and it makes me happy in a totally stupid way, but I love it.
That book is so much fun now.
Fantastic Four is a most excellent book, and it pleases me mightily. More people should be reading it. Let's see what else we got here. Some Thunderbolts, some Thanos, some Guardians of the Galaxy. I do have to say this particular cover of Doctor Strange with Bats, the ghost dog, is just excellent.
That does look pretty good.
And the other people walking in the park being like, what the? Of course, Doctor Strange would walk a ghost dog. Because that's what you do when you're strange. There's something weird in the neighborhood. Who are you going to call? I'm going to guess you have not yet read Marvel Superhero Secret Wars Battle World.
No.
It takes place like immediately on the heels of Secret Wars back in the day.
Yep.
No time in between, no nothing. It's like, boom, Secret Wars, it ain't over till it's over.
Well, that's an interesting way to do it.
Yep. It was pretty good. Let's see, new Alien book, but I mean, there's nothing. Star Wars Mace Windu, #1 of 4.
Once again, it's time to stop.
The one I'm excited about is this one right here.
It's time to start.
Written by Timothy Zahn.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's ever going to be able to write Thrawn like him.
Nope.
I mean, that is the guy that kind of invented Thrawn.
He certainly did.
So, yeah, I will definitely be reading that one.
Indeed, because it's awesome. And I have to say, too, this cover for Darth Vader #43, that's pretty sick.
That is nice looking. I like that one a lot.
I don't know why, but that makes me want to go and ride Rise of the Resistance at Disney World. Wait, I do know why. Because it's awesome. Let's see. Lots of trades. Lots of trades. More trades. More trades. There's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, the whole back half of this book is nothing but trades. I guess they want to remind you before Christmas that trades are available. There was a Battle Worlds book a few years ago, but that was different. Not to be confused with this one. All right. Upcoming DC book. Just like Batman Year One was kind of stuck in the middle of the Batman books, right? They didn't do a new limited series or anything.
Yep. Okay.
Joker Year One.
Oh, and look who writes it.
Because it's just in the middle of the regular book.
Oh, nice.
It's Batman 142.
That's going to work out great. You don't have to go pick anything extra up.
Exactly. You don't have to buy a different book. It's just in the one you're already getting. But yes, Batman 142 is a Joker Year One story. And they put out parts 1, 2, and 3 all in the same month, which I normally am not a fan of. But I think we're going to want this really fast.
You know, and I could be wrong with the way I look at it, but sometimes I think Zdarsky writes and does what he does solely with the comic, but with the true fan in mind.
I'd sure love to talk to him about it.
You know, I have dug all over the place, and apparently he very rarely does interviews.
Well, we don't have to interview him. We can just ask him questions and get his answers.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could just have a chat.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not an interview. Just come hang out with us.
Yeah, just talk comics, bro.
Yeah.
The Sinister Sons. To go with the Super Sons. I guess there's a market for that. I'm just not it.
If honestly, I don't think they should have. Because Super Sons, are they still young in their book, or are they teenagers now?
I have no idea.
Because yeah,
I
it does get a little confusing with where everybody's at. I think it would work if they wanted to do a kids title. Super Sons, Sinister Sons.
We might could arrange that, Daniel. We might could arrange that.
Well, I mean, Daniel, let's be honest with you. Any fan of the show can come on for the right price.
This episode sponsored by. Um, so there's this Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum, and read that box right there.
Hang on, you're shaking too much. A digital doll. Are they giving away NFTs? Okay.
I don't understand. Why? Who wants that? Unfortunately, the art in this book looks really good, and I might have to pick it up, and that bothers me. If I recall correctly, there weren't a whole lot of other new books, like new series launches from DC for this month. This Nightwing cover.
That is a good looking cover.
Like that one where he was diving in the water and it made the Nightwing logo.
Yeah.
And then you got this. Man, Bruce Redondo is sick. He is so freaking talented. Just awesome. Let's see. I don't think there was. This one you're gonna like. Pretty sure. I don't know who the writer is, Sean Martinborough, but the artist is Sanford Green, and Sanford Green is pretty awesome. I remember seeing him way back in the day at his little table in Artist Alley at Chicago, Wizard World Chicago. But this book right here, I think you're going to be interested in. Red Hood, The Hill, #1.
I will definitely check that out. I know that some people have issues with this particular era, but I enjoyed the New 52. And I think the best version of Red Hood and the Outlaws that we've gotten to date comes from the New 52. When it was him, Artemis, and Roy.
That's fair.
I'm sorry, him, Starfire, and Roy. I don't know why I said Artemis.
I was about to ask. Wonder Woman #6 and The Flash #6 are being solicited in this issue. It's hard to believe they're already soliciting issue #6 for that, but that's where we are.
Is it? I mean, this year seems like it has flown by.
Yep. They're calling these sweater weather variants, and they are the usual kind of thirst trap covers that DC has been doing a little bit of.
Hang on, do I need to download the Sweater Weather song and play it while you show these? Is that, it's not focusing. Is that Wonder Woman in the center?
I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know who that is. It says Birds of Prey, so it could be any number of people. It's probably Big Barda in the middle.
Oh, okay.
But you got Fire and Ice. The Power Girl one with the snowman is funny.
Did you read that Power Girl #1?
No.
I wanted to read it, but it sold out before I could get my hands on it.
The Superman cover looks like something out of a romance novel. You can pick that one up for your wife, Nick.
That's funny, and I want that cover. Simply because I think it's funny.
It is funny. But yes.
And then the Night
oh,
Chief cover. I saw that.
this is the one I wanted to talk about. Yes, sir. This is being written by Dan Jurgens, and the art is by Mike Perkins, who was the inker on Ruse back in the day. He did a spectacular run on Swamp Thing recently, and his art is just spectacular. This is the very earliest days of the Dark Knight. This is the Batman First Night, #1. The year is 1939. So this goes all the way back.
Oh, wow. That looks like that'd be interesting.
Classic pose, right, from the original. But look at all the things going on in there, if I can get it to focus.
I mean, we can definitely get the gist of it. Yeah, I mean,
Suffice
that's
to say,
interesting.
Mike Perkins on art is spectacular, and this book is going to be great.
See, yeah, it focused just then. That looks nice. How many issues is this going to be?
It does not say. It's one of 3.
Okay.
And this is the thing that bothers me. This is prestige format, so they're going to be Black Label size, I think. Which fie on that. What did you think of Batman City of Madness #1? Did you get to read it?
I hadn't got to it.
Look at that cover.
From what everybody says, it's Batman meets Lovecraft.
Yep, with the Court of Owls.
And honestly, the Court of Owls, that works Lovecraftian style.
Oh, it does, big time. It was very, very good.
And yes, I said Lovecraftian. Y'all are going to mistake me one day for somebody with some education.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. But nice try, buddy. You keep going, kid. You'll get there one day.
I'm my best. I'm my own hype man.
Yeah, that's really it as far as the big new things here. And then the last one, I guess we'll talk about because it's on the cover, and we'll dig into these next time.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats.
Oh. Yeah, Thundercats is coming to Dynamite.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. But the big question is, are they going to, keep the original art style and stuff?
They have some character designs are in the book in the previews here. This is being written by Declan Shalvey, and yeah, this looks very much like a throwback to the cartoon.
Same guy that writes Aliens?
Yep.
Oh, that's a big plus right there because he's done a great job with Aliens.
I do wish that they would not have Wily Cat and Wily Kit and that they would get rid of Snarf. But I know a lot of people like them. A lot of people also apparently like Scrappy Doo. So
yeah,
I
know we're getting here toward the end, but I got one thing that I would like to do.
Yeah,
I have never done this before. I'm not doing this. I'm not endorsed by. I'm not paid to do this. I'm throwing this out there because I think it will be fun. Here's my thing. Final order cutoff has already happened for this book that I'm about to put on the screen. I am going to have a December pick. Technically, I've read this book, but I have not read it yet because the book has not come out. I'll explain in just a second. December 20th is a Wednesday, and this book right here comes out. This is Shift. It is by Kyle Higgins. It is a one-shot, and here's the reasons why you should be picking it up. This is not a spec thing. This is not going to go through the roof. This may never be worth any more than $5.99. I don't know. This is not a spec thing. Shift is this bad guy in Radiant Black that's a very intriguing character. And in this book, and this is why I say I've kind of read this book, it is an extra length one shot, contains the 4 8-page Shift stories originally released in Image, plus a brand new 5-page story by Shift creators Kyle Higgins and Daniel. I cannot say your last name, so I'm not going to butcher it.
Daniel Acuna?
Yep. Ahead of Shift's appearance in Radiant Black's Catalyst War. Shift is a really cool character. It's a one-shot. Plus, it is 56 pages for only $5.99. Y'all need to go buy this book. If you see it on the shelf, you need to snatch it up. The reason why I say it's going to be fun with me telling y'all this, especially locally, is, as you can tell, final order cutoff has already happened. So whatever hits the shelf is what's there. And this would be a really, really, really good introduction into the massive universe.
Yeah, I think it would.
So that is already going to be my December pick, because like I said, I've read the 4 8-page stories, that's been published throughout Radiant Black. It's a cool character. It's a fun character, and it's a villain that everybody can identify with.
Well, let me real quick before we sign off here. That's a good thing. Everybody pick that book up. That's a good suggestion. We're going to do a little Christmas shindig at the store, which we haven't done in a while. The Saturday before Christmas, which will be the 23rd. Just late that afternoon. Not a big deal. Going to be a kind of come as you are. Bring something to eat. Grab something to eat, whatever. Hang out. Just have a little bit of a party. Have a good time. But somebody said something after our 24 hours at Haven thing that made me think, like we often try to do, that we could turn this into a fundraising opportunity. Because I have been challenged to eat elf spaghetti.
Oh, bring my arms down.
Which I would do. Spaghetti with maple syrup and crushed up Pop-Tarts. I would eat that. So, what do you think? You think people would pay money to see me eat that?
I don't know. People are strange. I think they would, especially since they know the money would be going, toward some kind of charity fundraiser thing. The other day they did 24 hours of Elf. I can't remember what channel it was on. And every time it come to that scene where he put the syrup on the spaghetti, every single time I was thinking, somebody's going to end up doing that. Somebody's going to end up doing that. I kind of want to do it. I actually talked myself into it and out of it like 3 different times. I think the big thing is, what Pop-Tarts? Which flavor Pop-Tarts?
I think he uses the strawberry ones.
Was it the strawberry?
I think so. I don't think it really matters. But if we want authenticity, we can watch and see if we can find it.
I'm sure I will end up watching that movie about 500 times because I love that movie.
I do too. It's great.
Because I'm sitting there trying to think. I think he had marinara sauce on it also.
He did. It was spaghetti like you would normally eat it, and then with syrup, and then with Pop-Tarts, and then he did this. So we're going to have to do that. Now, we have beards. He did not. So we'll have a mess to deal with. But yeah, we're going to have to mash it all up in there.
Part of me has thought, I've done the 1-chip challenge. I can do this.
There's a part of me that thinks I really want to know what that tastes like.
I'm curious about we're going to do this. I want to try it with and without Pop-Tarts.
Agreed.
I want to know.
I do too. But you know that syrup ain't gonna hurt my feelings none.
Yeah, no, you proved that at 24 hours at Haven.
I can't believe you guys were all taken aback by that.
Honestly, it didn't faze me any. I would have loved it if we'd have sat there and started doing shots of hot sauce. I think that would have been funny.
I would not have done that. Oh, we don't play hot, but I can do sweet. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I appreciate you coming on like always. It was fun talking comics with you. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Do us a favor. Like and subscribe to the show. Recommend it to your friends. Leave reviews on Haven's Google page saying you like the show. If you hate the show, leave reviews on the Deeps page or someplace else. But no, let people know about the show so that more people can get in on the fun. We'd appreciate that. But you guys have a great night, and we will catch you next time. Anything you want to say before we send folks off?
Yes, no show next week because we both have prior engagements.
Yep.
And then be back the 14th. I will not be here for the majority of the show the 14th, but Josh has got somebody lined up. I will probably be jumping on via cell phone later on that evening after I get done with what I got to get done.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're at that time of the year, you know, family, all that good stuff. Always put the family first. So,
yep.
Nick, I am not turning 65 next Thursday. I am turning 17 yet again. And on my 17th birthday, I do not plan on putting on anything more than my boxer shorts and a t-shirt. And like I told Josh, it would be appreciated if you swing by the house every couple hours and just roll me over so I don't get bed sores next Thursday. Because I'm not doing anything. That is my day.
That is completely legit.
My day.
You have a good one, and we will catch you guys next time.